Welcome to the Silhouettes of Success podcast with your host, successful entrepreneur, broker, and business mentor, Amber Weitzer. Because success comes in all shapes, sizes, and styles, the Silhouettes of Success podcast is shining the light on industrious women with a collection of curated conversations of intentional inspiration designed to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, feed your soul, and gift you with actionable insights directly from inspirational, everyday women who've shown tenacity, grit, and grace, having taken on the challenges in their lives and business and won. Remarkable, down-to-earth, and relatable, Amber and her guests will share with you uplifting and extraordinary real-life success stories, motivational ideas that just might help spark something within you. With the deepest desire to serve you, help you grow so you can begin to shine the light that will illuminate your very own silhouette of success. So, let's get to it.
Hello and welcome to the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success. Our V.I.P feature guest is the founder of the Women in Wealth Initiative, a transformative platform aimed at empowering women to take control of their financial futures. Having overcome personal adversity, including battling leukemia at 17 and launching a business at 27, her passion for financial empowerment stems from both professional expertise and personal experiences. She holds a bachelor's in business administration and marketing and has been nationally recognized as a leader in financial planning, especially for female business owners. Let's welcome Michelle Taylor to the show. She is a mother of two. She's married. She loves to travel and is spending quality time with her family when she's able. So let's talk with her. Hello, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Amber. I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. All right, my lady. So it is so great to connect with you. And I am excited for you to share with our audience all the wonderful things that you have accomplished and are working on. But in addition to that, really sharing the spotlight on the services that you can give and provide the audience. So let's let you go ahead and start by talking a little bit more about your background.
As you mentioned in the beginning, I grew up with two amazing parents. One was an entrepreneur and business owner. My mother was in retail management. They divorced when I was young and both approached money in totally different ways. And both had the commonality that they didn't really talk about money and making wise decisions to me. So I saw two very contrasting approaches and had no real guidance on what to take from both other than what I gathered on my own. So I made a lot of mistakes and learned so much from them. I did have leukemia at 17. And I tell everybody I'm so thankful that it happened when I was young because it did, in fact, shape and change the way I approach everything from that point forward. I don't sweat the small stuff. I try and realize that everything, like I tell my kids, is fixable. And I do the same with business. So I knew I had wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know what that looked like. Instead of chasing a specific business, subconsciously I was chasing the lifestyle that I knew that being an entrepreneur could provide. So I had my first exciting venture when I had just graduated from college, and my best friend and I packed up, sold everything we owned, and moved to Italy. We were going to import goods from Europe and bring them here to the States, some similar to like an anthropology. And we were so excited and we did it. We went over, we had the business plan, we sourced the manufacturers and the relationships. And the best part of the story is that was during the financial crisis of 2007 and 8. So my dad, being the entrepreneur, said, "This is not the time, come home." So I learned how to start a business on the back end in that experience, but I also had to learn how to pivot. And with that pivot, coming home, having business degrees and speaking Italian. That was my claim to fame from my time in Italy. Not knowing what to do from there, I went into the fashion industry and worked for Prada. And in that work, my dad encouraged me to go back to one of the ideas I had in business school, and that was to create a product called Selections that were meant to protect the bottom of Christian Louboutins. And I did it. I did it from the very, very beginning and sourced my own manufacturers, and Google was my best friend. I was figuring this out alone, and I'm sure you can understand this. My dad had a lot of success, but he owns a window and door company. So he doesn't understand the industry and what that looked like. And again, he taught me so much about what I needed to do to be successful in life, and he can sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, he taught me the important things of dealing with people. But as far as setting up a business, even though at that time when I moved home, I moved in with him to figure out what the next step was, he was right there and I wasn't getting a ton of guidance. And I don't think that it was intentional. I think that it's just happenstance. He was running his own company. And long story short, I Googled my way into the right places. I had a provisional patent. I was trademarked. I had all the right people. And then because of another health, I don't want to say setback, but we did find out that we would have to go through IVF to have our babies. So I had brought this product to fruition, flown to the manufacturers in Pennsylvania, packaging, branding, everything. And I literally was 2 days out from going to speak to the buyers at Neiman Marcus in Dallas. And due to a couple of unforeseen things with what they were requesting, that I felt like I wasn't quite ready to present when it came to displaying the product, I was just so overwhelmed with what happened with the IVF news that I put it on the shelf and decided to focus on the babies that were tangible instead of a business that I had thought of as a baby. But again, those lessons were so valuable to me and kind of led me to where I am now. I knew that I had a passion for helping women in business. I knew what it was like to walk into rooms and not be taken seriously because of the industry or because I didn't have a man with me. And I wanted to change that. So my financial advisor, who he and his wife are our best friends, encouraged me to start to help women in a different way. And that was over a decade ago. And I've never looked back and still was searching for how do I do more. And that's where Women in Wealth came to be. And here we are today.
What a journey, my lady. Wow.
Lots of
What?
pivots.
Yes. Well, what a magical journey.
It was
I
wonderful.
yes, and still is, and you're just getting started. That's what I always say.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Yes. So maybe expanding on that, let's kind of take what you've shared and break it down into the next step would be what does a day in the life look like for you? So your alarm clock goes off or whatever you use or don't use and your business or work day begins. What does that look like for you? Are you structured? Are you spontaneous? Talk to us.
I try to be structured just because I love waking up early and having some time to myself in the house. And as you mentioned, I have a little boy who just turned 10. I have a daughter who just turned 6. Their lives are very full. And they're in that age where they still want their mom and dad around doing all of the things with them. So we're busy. So those early mornings I treasure them. I focus on my health, obviously. I'm, 25 years out from the diagnosis, but I really try to pay attention to all of the things. So I have an infrared sauna. Many mornings I'll go in and it's a portable guy that's real easy to get in and out of. And I will go in and spend, even if it's 15 minutes in the sauna and open emails, try and keep my dog quiet, and enjoy a cup of coffee while I get a good start on my day. And then I wake up every morning around the same time just because I feel like that's what we do, right? With time and consistency, your body learns the habit. And I get the kids ready for school. It was really important for me. Why I wanted to go into being an entrepreneur is so that I could have the autonomy that I felt it could provide. So I am very true to taking my kids to school every day and making sure that my first meeting doesn't start until 9:30. And then it's go time. As soon as I drop the kiddos off at school, I oftentimes am taking my first, meeting as a phone call. I go all day. At the end of the day, depending on the day, I'm juggling the kids and tagging my husband in the hallway to take them to baseball and cheerleading and ballet, and also trying to grow and scale Women in Wealth. So there's a lot of events that take me out of the house probably one night a week. Yeah, it's a very busy full life, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, and I can hear that. You can hear it in your voice. The visions of going through the day with you, but you can hear the joy in your voice as you share. As an independent business owner, where do you find support?
I'm sure this is a bit cliche, but the first thing would obviously be my husband. We have non traditional roles in the sense that a lot of times he's doing bedtime or putting the kids in the bathtub. And I could not do what I do without the support that he gives me, without complaining. He is incredible. So I definitely think he is the number one support system in making this machine run. But I also lean on the women in my life. I think that you can probably relate to this, where entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, but when you're a woman and a mom on top of it, it makes it even trickier sometimes. So I value the relationships in my life that are, my mom and my aunts and cousins that are all, extremely important to me, but also my girlfriends that are both in this world and in this entrepreneurship space, and also the ones that aren't. I think it's so critical to surround yourself with like minded women, and also the women that have been with you your whole life that keep you grounded, and you can complain and voice frustrations, be your sounding boards and loudest cheerleaders. I think that without them, this would be really difficult.
Keeping that train of thought a little bit, what helps you? Because we love best practices when we speak with our silhouettes. The audience craves this. Finding out these little, secrets or not secrets that might work for you or somebody. How do you recharge and rest your mindset? Maybe after whether it be a vivacious event that you've attended and you're just or an emotionally exhausting situation or day. What do you turn to?
Do you know what is crazy? So I spend so much of my time talking to other people and I get energy from it. I love being around people and hearing their story and sharing mine. But after these days that are crazy, my favorite thing to do is ride home in the car in complete silence. I I treasure it so much, and oftentimes I do. And when it comes to just quiet time, you know, recharging is so important. I do try and focus on, even if it's once a week, doing something, going to the farmer's market by myself on an early Saturday morning, or taking an extra long shower. It's really just being in the stillness. Isn't it crazy? I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but some of your best ideas come to you in the shower. And it's just
Yes.
because you shut all the noise down.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I don't feel like self-care or just giving yourself a little bit of space to sit in the stillness. It doesn't have to be something big. It can just be that. It can be a long shower, it can be reading a book, like sitting in quiet on the way home. It's amazing what those things can do to recharge your batteries.
Agree. I like that though. The quietness in the car. Yes.
Makes a
Yes,
big
that's a
difference.
commercial. That's a mom business owner commercial. What thinking through some of the things along your journey, and maybe it's some things you've noticed recently, but can you point to any positive adjustments maybe that you've made in your life or environment that helps support the growth of your dreams and goals?
I think the most important thing is protecting your time. I, like most women, love to say yes to so many things and overcommit. And what I have found is I have the best of intentions at the beginning of a year where I, set my calendar up for success, and I don't necessarily stay true to that throughout the year. And I'm really trying this year to do a little bit better. I think putting the things on your day to day calendar that are so important and then filling in the spaces where you can is so helpful to making sure that the things that are most important to you get accomplished. My dad always used to tell me, still does, be true to your school. And whenever I'm doing this, that's what I think about, like, be true to your school, be true to yourself. If taking your kids to school is important, make that sacred. If working out in the morning is something that is important, make it happen no matter what. Don't let it get scheduled over. Don't let it get rescheduled. And that's something that I'm trying really hard this year specifically, is finding the right time to make time to work out and juggling that on my calendar, because when it's not in the right place, it's so easy to show up for everybody else, but to give up on yourself or to let yourself off the hook. And so I'm really trying to be sacred with the slots on my calendar and protect my time blocks.
Those are your non-negotiables.
That's right. Non-negotiables.
That's right. Put those parameters up. I like your dad's advice. All right, my lady, we are so excited to hear about your business, Women in Wealth Initiative. You've talked about it a little bit, but I want to give you the space here to share with us on a deeper level the inspiration. Of course, you've talked a little bit about that motivation, but talk to us about the business. Talk to us about the audience will be excited to go back at the resources here and go look and see what you've got going on. But share with us what you want about the business itself.
I would love to. So this is what truly fills my cup every single day because of the experiences that I had. And even now, just doing, personal consulting with clients. 95% of my clients are women. And it's amazing how many of them have the commonalities of feeling like they don't have resources to ask the right questions in rooms, dealing with that confidence gap that we've all heard about. They oftentimes have grown quickly and are playing catch up, but don't always know who to ask for assistance or support or help. And just feeling like they don't have the same tools at their disposal. Hearing that story over and over again, Women in Wealth was founded in 2020. And finally, after a few years of it just being a nagging desire, I turned Women in Wealth into a membership and community platform. So the idea is I wanted it to be a place for all women. I think that there's some oversaturation in the market where if you are in the space of being a CEO, there's loads of resources for you, but I wanted to be a place for everyone. I think it's important that women that are not business owners, maybe they're at home managing their household finances and their kids and their families, maybe they're a C-suite executive that's doing all of the right things, but above and beyond maxing out retirement accounts, who's talking to them about the other opportunities that are out there? Maybe it's a woman, that is starting a very late second chapter in life because she had her spouse pass away or they're no longer together. Women are much less likely to ever get remarried. So I feel like oftentimes if their husbands were the one leading the charge, they're starting off on the second part of their lives with not a lot of tools in the toolbox. So I wanted to place everyone together in a community where they have access to resources. They can learn at their own pace, whether you're coming in and downloading what a budget sheet should look like or information on the different types of retirement accounts. You also can go further and look into what is an accredited investor? How do I become one? What does private credit mean? What remember with GameStop, everybody was talking about, those options. And I know so many of my friends would call me and say, what in the heck does this even mean? If they didn't have me in their lives, they weren't going to ask somebody else. So I wanted it to be a place where ask the questions, do your own research at your own pace and have unlimited amount of resources at your fingertips. I also wanted to create community. So there's a circle platform component to this where women can come in and celebrate the wins, ask questions, look for resources, and really just have mentorship and have the opportunity to also provide mentorship to others. I have nieces that are 16, almost 17, that they're looking for that person to emulate. And it's not because they were told to, it's because they don't have the resources and they recognize it. So, Women in Wealth was born out of an absolute necessity of really just leveling up the playing field, allowing women to come together. We have opportunities to join mastermind groups, build the community that you may be lacking. We have in-person events. I have clients and members all over the country. The goal is that that will eventually spread to all over the country. And one of my favorite pieces of the platform is I've got a girl. So I'm sure you've heard that term. Oh, I've got a guy for that. Oh, you need a roof repaired? I got a guy. So I got tired of hearing it and I created I've got a girl. And the idea is that when you come into the community, one of the most important things you can do to set yourself up for success financially is understanding who needs to be sitting at your table. And I tell women, building out your board of directors, you need to understand at what point in your life you need which relationships. So, women come into the community, they will have a short quiz to say, this is where you're at, this is what you're focused on. And then they get the results that say, because of where you're at, you need a CPA or you need an estate planning attorney. And then they're able to go into the I've got a girl database and search by industry or by state and source out the relationships that they feel comfortable with. I've spent the last 4 years vetting these relationships. They are women that I know, like, trust, and know that they're delivering the kind of client experience that I would want or expect for my private consulting clients. Overall, just changing the way women think and feel about money. And it sounds so simple, but the reality is we just can do better. We are not talking about money. We are not asking the questions. So I wanted to have a place where I could have a CPA come in or a real estate investment professional come in or an estate planning attorney bi-weekly and have these conversations. And if it is something that's important to you, you can join with your questions. And if it doesn't matter because you've done really well in that space, you can skip that one. But ultimately, I wanted to be a one-stop shop for women to not be afraid and embrace each other and educational tools, and also be exposed to resources and opportunities that the guys are talking about on golf courses or over bourbon and cigars that we are just not discussing.
Oh my gosh. Well, and so one of the next, fun questions is when do you feel your greatest sense of satisfaction and what feeds your soul? But I don't know. Did we just nail it with
I mean, halfway,
right?
halfway. I
Yeah.
would I would say, as you would expect, spending time with the people I love, my kiddos is a given, and my husband. But just I'm a big proponent, and I think this goes back to the leukemia of just never taking one breath, one day for granted. So I love to have experiences and share experiences with people that I care about. And so that fills my cup like nothing else. I love, going back to those nieces, when they were 3 years old, I told them that I was going to take them to Italy when they turned 16. At that point, I did not have any clue how I would ever make that happen. But I believe in putting it out into the universe and going after the things that you believe can happen. And I took them to Italy last March. Um, I live for that. It brings me so much joy. And of course, the flip side of that coin, I can't tell you how happy it makes me when I talk to women that say, you changed the trajectory of how I approach money because I did X, Y, and Z. It absolutely, there's nothing that makes me happier.
The fulfillment and being there and being present and all of the hard work and your shared experiences to be able to pass that forward is invaluable.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. Oh, wow. I am ready
My
to dive in
pleasure.
too. Of course, I perused and I was exploring, but now I get to really dive in. Having the backstory makes it all the more exciting. Love that. Love that. Michelle, the time is flying by, and I need to respect your time because I know all the things you've got going on because we've heard a day in the life of. We crave great best practices, but resources as well. And I know after what you shared with us that you have just a plethora of those. But do you have a favorite book or author or mentor that you would want to share with the audience to put on their reading list? And if so, what makes it a favorite?
So I love the book, The Compound Effect, because it does oversimplify something that truly can move mountains. And I think that for anybody, it doesn't have to be business related. Making a small change over a long amount of time will change your life. And I think that that's an important thing for all of us to remember. I can certainly bring that back to, investing. And I have so many women that will say, well, I can only put away $50 a month. That's okay, because over time and compounding interest, you're going to thank yourself several years from now. Um, so I love that book. I think anybody can gain something from it, and it's an easy read. I think another book that is really interesting, just in the psychology of how our world operates now, is a book by Daniel Pink. It's called To Sell is Human. And it's really interesting to think we all kind of grew up with this negative connotation of, the used car salesman. But with the way that the world has changed and with social media and everybody has so much visibility to others, I think it's really unique to think through, we are all selling something, even if it's just selling to our kids to do the right things. I think it's a really interesting way to look at the psychology of the world and how we interact with each other.
And they sell to us too. The
Sure they
kids
do. I got
constantly, they're the pros. They don't
Oh my
even
word.
realize.
My son yesterday, he had a baseball game and he begged, "Can I do my homework after the game?" And I knew better.
Uh-huh.
But Amber, I let him do it and I regretted it afterwards. And I said to him, "You are your grandfather's
Yes.
grandson because you got me hook, line, and sinker, and now I regret it."
Masterful. And
Yes.
that's a new book to me. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're
So
welcome.
again, these titles we put in the resource section so the audience can go and explore them. All right, my lady, I know we've got to wrap up. So, in keeping the promise to our audience and sharing intentional inspiration, of course, you've inspired us all along this way today. Do you have maybe a favorite quote or phrase or anything that maybe has stuck with you throughout your career that you'd want to impart and share with the audience?
So It's something that I say that I've thought of since I was a teenager, and it's something that we say in our family all the time, so I can't credit it to someone famous, but I would say what I try and live by every single day, and my kiddos, my family, is leave everyone and everything better than you find them. And I think if we all look at life that way, whether it is helping somebody by opening a door when they have packages in their hand, telling somebody that they look nice or that you thought of them and it made you smile, it's contagious. So leave everything and everyone better than you find it.
I like that contagiousness.
Yes, me too.
Fantastic. Okay, milady, the stage is completely yours. Where can our audience go to find and connect with you on your socials or support you in your continued success?
The first place, obviously, is womeninwealth.co, and that is the home of the membership community. Please go check it out. The more women that are there, the better it is for all of us. And also on Instagram, women_in_wealth. And I also have a podcast, Talk Wealthy to Me, where we have women come on and talk about how they redefine what success looks like for them and share their relationships with money and hopefully give some good advice to those listening.
Amazing. So the audience knows, but just a reminder, we will have all of these links in the resource section. So it is a click away for them to find you.
Wonderful.
All right, milady, it has been a sheer delight and a pleasure and an honor visiting with you today as you shared your Silhouette of Success story. You are a true light and inspiration, and I thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Silhouettes of Success podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on all the new episodes. We are here for you and with you. We encourage you to share this podcast on all your socials and pass on the light to help illuminate another silhouette of success. To find out the latest ways to inspire your heart, ignite your mind, and gain actionable insights, subscribe at thesilhouettesofsuccess.com or connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We're grateful that you tuned in. Remember, you are exactly where you need to be, right here with us. This is the Amber Weitzer podcast, Silhouettes of Success.